Welcome, Opulence Global Partners, to our riveting forensic call. We have a change in our presenter, which is exciting for tonight's call. I'd like to welcome Brian Arundel. He will be leading our forensic call tonight. I just want to stop and welcome Francis from the Philippine Warriors. And Gloria is joining us from Trinidad. Welcoming Brian Arundel. Brian is a lifestyle director too, a true visionary and an entrepreneur who embarked on his Opulence Global journey in November of 2009. With Brian's unwavering dedication, he reached remarkable heights, overseeing a thriving organization of 8,000 partners, with over 5,000 partners in Nigeria alone. Knowing affectionately to us as Mr. Africa, Brian quickly rose to prominence within the Opulence Global community. At the prime of his success, Brian earned recognition as one of the company's top trainers. In 2017, Brian was faced with unforeseen challenges as the Nigerian government imposed restrictions on foreign banking transactions. Brian's organization took a hit, but today he's back with renewed determination, poised to rebuild and share his invaluable insights on resilience, entrepreneurship, and the path to success. Join me as we welcome back this remarkable leader, ready to inspire and empower us tonight on this forensic call. Welcome, Brian.
Oh, thank you very much for that warm introduction. It's amazing to be here, and I am so honored to have the opportunity to be speaking to our Opulence Global family. Can you hear me clearly?
Yes.
Okay, fantastic, fantastic. So I'm not sure if you can allow me to actually share my show my video, but if you can, then that would be great. It's interesting that the CEO and the executive vice president reached out to me and said, Brian, can you actually do the forensic network? And I'm saying, is it what? The forensic networker? Yeah, so I was really honored when our executive vice president and our CEO reached out to me and said, Brian, can you actually be the speaker for the forensic network? And I said, really? And not only I was definitely shocked, but also, very much, astounded that they would look to me as someone to speak to their global audience. But again, I definitely appreciate their trust and belief in me. And that's something that everyone should be striving for, not necessarily always with corporate, but with your team. And we're going to talk a little bit about some of those things a little bit in a minute. So for those of you who don't know, I actually launched my business back in 2009. And I had been exposed to a lot of different network marketing companies, like a lot of people on this call. And I in the most instances, the experience wasn't necessarily positive. But one of the main reasons why I decided to launch my business with Opulence Global was because of the system, because of the support, because of the team-based culture and the team-based environment where, we work together to build, again, as we say, one team, one dream to the billion. In a lot of other companies, that's something that's foreign. They don't necessarily work as closely together. So I looked at that as a strength that really could empower and help us to build and have massive success in the company. And so, but the reason why I was looking for that, and I saw that, my five system as an amazing aspect of our business was not for me necessarily, because I had a lot of belief in myself, but I wanted that for the team that I was going to be bringing on board, because I realized that we needed to have a culture of training, a culture of mentorship, a culture of guiding and working with our partners to make sure that they have the success that is available to them. Because most people, when they're coming into, have never run a business before. And as such, they need support, they need guidance, they need mentorship, they need direction. When most people are used to having a boss every day, they are used to having someone who will tell them what to do at every step of the way. And they're not, those free thinkers who are going to be able to figure out what they need to do and when they need to do it. So we really need to be sort of that compass for a lot of our partners, and they need to know that we're there for them. So I knew I wanted to build a big team, and I knew I wanted to build something that was sustainable. And I believed that our system was something that was available and something that we could definitely use as a tool and a resource. Today, we have, again, some amazing tools and systems that we use very effectively. One of them, obviously, is we have a lot of chat groups and different things. But the one thing that I'm finding, and this is probably an area that I think we can all improve upon, is not using the chat groups as a way to sort of hide behind that wall of impenetrability, if you want to call it that. And the reason why I say that is we still need to build those interpersonal relationships. And so, in a lot of cases, as a part of a chat group, if someone looks at me and says, wow, it's Brian, Mr. Africa, LD2, or it's Renee, LD4 Renee Liao, and he's in my chat group, it's amazing. But if they feel any uncertainty or discomfort in reaching out to you, they're not going to reach out to you. And I really believe that that's one thing that we need to do a little bit better job of, going down in depth and really making those connections with our partners so that they know that they can call you at any time. And one thing I always dislike whenever my partners call me and they always say, sorry to bother you. And I always reach out to them and say, don't be sorry. That's why we're here. I want you to be that squeaky wheel. I want you to be that person coming to me when you need help. Now, at the same time, we're not necessarily going to hold your hand at every step of the way, but when you need guidance, when you need direction, we're here to provide that for you. And if the partners don't know that that's the case, there's always going to be reservation for them to come to you and ask you for help. And we need to make sure that that is not the case. We don't want them to feel any discomfort. We want them to know that we're here for them. And we want to, again, as Sanjay's saying, embrace each other, because together everyone achieves more. And so that's really an important thing for us to make sure that our partners are taking away whenever we're part of these groups, is that, and I learned that from one of my senior partners, and everyone knows her, Miss Sherry Zhao. And I remember, Sherry and I were in Hong Kong at the time, and we're doing some expansion there. And I remember she walked up to me one day and she said, I was actually chatting online with a prospect, and she said to me, and it was something that I took to heart and I use it every day today. She said, Brian, you need to get them on the phone. And we're always sort of using these tools in some cases as a little bit of a shield, but we have to let that shield drop and allow ourselves to be vulnerable, and for people to see who we really are, for them to know whether or not they definitively feel that you're someone that they can partner with. And that guidance that she gave me was something that actually helped me to propel my business further, because I realized that you can't build a strong relationship as quickly as we want to on text. We need to be talking to people. We need to be face to face. We need to be able to read body language. We need to be able to, again, see people's genuine nature and see that they really are truly interested in your success, and they don't have ulterior motives in terms of why they're reaching out to you. So one of the things that I realize is that when we're out and we're doing our prospecting, the one challenge that we face every day is that our prospects aren't wearing their pins. They're not coming up to you and saying, hey, I'm an LD1. Hey, I'm an LD2. I'm an LD3, and I'm an LD4. but they a lot of their prospects have that within them. They don't know that yet because they don't really understand their true potential. And when I say that, I'm also talking about some of us who have existing people in our downlines today. They could be budding LD1s, LD2s, LD3s, LD4s, but they're not there yet. Why aren't they there yet? They're not there because we talk about the tripod of belief in our business. So there's a gap there that needs to be filled. Either they don't have belief in the industry, which again, we need to show them or lead them to the tools to help them to build their belief in the industry. They don't have the belief in the company, which again is hard to believe, but there are people who have doubts. And the biggest thing that stands in most people's way is they don't have belief in themselves. And that's in a lot of cases why people say no to you, not because of something that you did wrong, not because of something the company did wrong or something the industry did wrong. They don't believe they have the talent. They don't believe they have the skill. They don't believe that maybe they don't believe they deserve to have the success. And that may be something that's here, between, in this big head somewhere. Maybe that's why I'm an LD2. Maybe I don't believe yet that I deserve to be an LD3. And so at the end of the day, you have to do whatever you need to do to get you to that place where you are ready to take that next step in your level of success to be who you deserve to be. Whether that's LD3, LD4, presidential, we don't know what that is yet. And you may not even know what that is yet, but you have to determine what it is that you want and what you're willing to sacrifice to get what you want. Because nothing in life that's worthwhile ever comes easy. If you believe it's going to be easy, you're fooling yourselves. You're going to have challenges. You're going to have difficulties. You're going to have, things that come in your way that are going to be, things that hold you back. But the true person or leader is the person who they get knocked down, and guess what? They get back up. They get knocked down and they get back up. And they get back up and they get back up and they get back up until they do one thing. They succeed. It's success or nothing. And once you have that determination in your mind, success is it's only one person away. If I told you today that you are one, depending on where you are in your business, you may have one big leg built already. You have all this volume sitting there waiting to pay you. You're one person away from your potential success. If you're brand new in the business, you need two people, from your potential success. So now, what are you willing to do to identify those two people? The great thing is we have our system, and our system is the forensic networker system. At the end of the day, we know that 100 calls will get you 2 to 3 new partners or customers. You know that 40 will get you one. So how quickly do you want to identify that one if you need the one? Meaning, how quickly are you going to go through those 40 calls? If you need two, how quickly are you going to go through those 100 calls? If you really realize how close you are to your success, how hard would you push to get there? And what would you sacrifice to achieve that level of success? And that's something that we all have to decide, upon in our own quiet place. Maybe, you go into your study, you turn off the lights, you sit down and you reflect on, where you are today. You maybe think about where you see yourself in the future, and you identify the things that you believe you need to do to get there. And then you just say, you know what? Nothing's going to stand in my way, and I'm going to get it done. Sometimes, guess what? You may not be able to identify yourself. And that's where, connecting to someone that you actually really respect and someone that you actually trust, to maybe sit down with them and say, listen, I need help. And I would implore you guys on this call, if you need help, reach out to your upline, reach out to your partners and tell them, what it is that you believe you need. I'm not saying, that you're going to hound them, but at the end of the day, I'm so grateful because, Sherry and Tammy reached out to me, and today we have a call every single week where we sit down and we talk about what happened in the week. And I really, really appreciate that, because when you look at all of the really, really successful people in the world, some of them are the best at their sport. They're the best at what they do. But most of them have someone that they go to, someone that they can actually, who can look at them and say, this is what you need to work on. This is something you're missing. You look at some of the top athletes in the world, whether they're basketball players, golfers, they all have coaches. What does that say to you? They're the best in the world, and they're all striving to be better. We're so blessed because we have an amazing coach in our CEO, Mr. Ramin Mesgarlou. We have someone who is definitely has sort of that vision for us. He sees something in us that maybe we don't see in ourselves yet. He sees me as someone, but I haven't gotten to where I deserve to be. And why is that? Because maybe it's because of me. I haven't actually flicked that switch yet to push me or propel me to be where I need to be. I haven't learned enough to get me to where I want to be. And that's the other thing that we should always be striving for, is striving to better ourselves. And that's where things like personal development comes in. So why do we talk to people about, you know, consistency, and about, just making the calls, just having your cards, whether your green cards, your red cards, your yellow cards, and just making the calls? Because again, just doing the activity, it sort of negates what people may look at as luck. There is no luck. It's all about opportunity and being prepared for when that opportunity presents itself. And so at the end of the day, you made the calls. Because you made the calls, you now have created your own luck, because you've run into that budding diamond, that budding LD1, LD2, and LD3. Even when you look at a diamond, when you first unearth it, does it look like a diamond? No, it's probably got mud on it. It's got grime on it. It looks like a common stone. I mean, you may have to chisel away at it to find the actual diamond underneath. And it still doesn't look like a beautiful diamond yet, because now it's got to get cut. It's got to get shaped. It's got to be molded into that beautiful diamond. And so when we actually have partners who decide that they want to join us, they're like that diamond covered in mud. They're like that diamond that needs to be chiseled away to find that beautiful, gorgeous, stone. It's in there. But we need to direct them to where they need to go so that they can actually really showcase their brilliance and showcase their beauty. But the problem is, a lot of times, is we make assumptions. We make assumptions that, oh, you know what? This person isn't doing this, which means they're this. So we're making judgments on them. And sometimes those judgments are premature. So what I've learned is that I never make judgments on people. I allow them to be whoever they need to be, but at the same time, I'm still there, just subtle, giving them those gentle nudges in the direction that I need them to go. At the end of the day, like they always say, you can lead a horse to water, but you can't make him drink. I'm continually moving them in the direction that I'm hoping that they're going to eventually move to on their own. But at the beginning, they need that guidance. It's like a young child. You're teaching them how to ride a bike. You don't typically just throw them on a two-wheeler right away. You put them on their bike, you put their training wheels on, and they're getting used to their balance, to getting used to riding their bike. Maybe at some point now you say, hey, I'm going to take one of these wheels off. And they're getting better at balancing. And then eventually, and that's your new downline. They need the training wheels, they need the support, they need the assistance, because they're babies. Thank you, Sherry Zhao. They bear babies, and they need you to be there to help them. Sometimes when they fall, sometimes when they skin their knee, until they get to that point where now they've developed that strength and that ability to operate on their own. And like I said, I'm not one for babying people, but I've learned along the way that not everyone is me. I remember when I joined the business, my probably 2 weeks after I launched, one of my uplines came to me and said, Brian, I'm coming to help you do this in your back office. I said, I did that already. Like I did it from week one. But not everyone in your team is going to be like that. And so we need to identify what people need and be able to provide it. Lead them to the water. We can't force them to drink, but we need to at least let them know that it's there. It's not an oasis. It's not something that's a mirage. It's actually here for you, but it's up to you to take it and to really want to digest it and learn it and make it your own. And so if they're not willing to do that, then fine. You continue to search for those people, but remember, they're still there. Remember, they're still in the game. There's still sort of that opportunity for them to maybe come to a conference. And maybe that conference is what flips the switch. Maybe they come to a boot camp. Maybe they log on to a Saturday training, and that flips the switch for them. But the one thing we want to make sure we do is we don't want to wait for those things. We want to try and see if we can, again, facilitate that momentum faster rather than slower by waiting for someone else to do that. If we can actually help to create that, then we want to be able to do that. So the other thing I talked about is, again, developing your mental strength, and again, thinking about how you build the business and how you can improve upon what you build the business. So I don't know if everyone knows or remembers I guess it was a story, and it goes something like this, and I probably won't tell you verbatim, but you'll get the gist of the story. So basically, there were two lumberjacks, and the lumberjacks go into the forest, and they're regularly chopping trees and chopping trees. And one day they decide they're going to have a competition. So you have this young, burly, very, very confident, cocky young lumberjack who now is going up against the seasoned lumberjack. The seasoned lumberjack would be like a Ramin. The young lumberjack would be maybe like myself, or some new hotshot in the business. And these lumberjacks decide that they're going to actually have this competition. They're going to chop trees for the day, and at the end of the day, whoever's chopped the most trees is going to win the competition. So they start chopping away, chopping away, chopping away. After an hour of chopping, the seasoned veteran, he stops chopping. So the young guy is like really excited, thinking, I'm going to win now. I'm going to win. He stopped chopping. So he's all excited. So the older seasoned lumberjack is gone for about 15 minutes, and he comes back, he starts chopping again. And he's chopping, he's chopping, he's chopping, he's chopping. The young guy's starting to get tired, but about an hour into the chopping, the seasoned veteran disappears again. Now, the young guy's feeling pretty empowered, saying, oh, I'm gonna win. He's so tired now, he can't continue. So throughout the day, this seasoned lumberjack every hour would take a 15-minute break. At the end of the day, they turned around, and the seasoned lumberjack, had chopped down way more trees than the young lumberjack. The guy is baffled. He comes in and says, what happened? how come you chop down so many trees? Like, you're taking so many breaks. I thought that you were tired. I thought that you give up. He said, no, I wasn't tired. Every hour I decided I wanted to sharpen my axe. I knew that my tool needed to be sharpened for it to operate as efficiently as it potentially could operate. And that's us here. We need to sharpen our tools. We need to sharpen our skill sets. And that's one of the great things about, again, the consistency of doing something and making the calls. I've worked for about 3 companies that were billion-dollar companies. And every company that I've ever worked for in sales, they had a system like our system in the forensic networker. They called it something different. I mean, the last company that I worked with that had a system like that, they called it the recipe. And it was exactly the same thing. Every day you needed to make 100 dials. So not every week. We were expected to make 100 outbound sales calls every single day. And from those outbound sales calls, that would actually create a certain amount of customers who would meet us for meetings. From those meetings, that would actually uncover potential opportunities or customers who needed our services. And so when I saw this and I saw Ramin had this, I said to myself, oh my gosh, he's got a system that some of the billion-dollar companies that I've worked for have already implemented, and he's actually given it to us as guidance in terms of what we need to do. What does that allow us to do? It allows us to go through that growth curve of learning, because the first few calls you're going to make are probably going to be pretty bad. As you continue to make more and more calls, hopefully you're sharpening your axe. You're refining your scripts. You're, again, tailoring your message so that it becomes something that's unique to yourself and that you can deliver it with confidence. And, as you sharpen that axe, maybe 100 isn't going to get you 2 to 3 anymore. 100, like someone like a Renee, 100 calls may get him 6 because he sharpened his axe. Someone like, our big leaders, they don't necessarily need to. But again, it's because they put the time in. They've educated themselves. They've empowered themselves with knowledge. They spent time in their back office really learning to be a subject matter expert and be an expert at their craft. So when someone gives them some sort of an objection, they're smooth. They slide in and they just counter the objection. Someone slides them another objection. Oh yeah, I got you. I counter that objection. So again, it's not necessarily about being that smooth, but again, just being confident enough so that you know that what you have and you know that what you are presenting is the best of the best. And a lot of times people will say yes to you just because of your belief. When I was actually building the Nigeria team, and I remember Nigeria wasn't even built yet, and I was telling every single person that I was going to build a team in Nigeria. Everyone I spoke to, and I don't know why, that just came to me that Africa was the place that I wanted to build in. And I said it. I remember I said to Sherry, I'm going to build a team in Africa. And Sherry would say, okay, Brian, pat me on the head. Good little boy. You go ahead and do that. Like a mother would do. You never want to dissuade your children, right? Say, yeah, no problem, Liam. You go ahead and do that. You go build a team. Have fun. And so she would always say to me, that's great, Brian. That's great, Brian. Everyone I met, when I sat down to do the presentation, I would tell them that was my vision, to build this team. And I would talk to them about positioning. I would say, hey, you know what? I'm going to build this team. Whoever takes position, they're going to benefit from that team one day. I didn't know when it was going to happen, but I really believed, and that was, I guess, my self-talk to myself, that I was going to build this team. And then eventually, the first person launched. And then the second person launched. Then the third person launched. And then I realized that I had created a job for myself, not a job, but a lot of of work, because a lot of people want a lot of things, but they don't necessarily realize the work that goes behind having what it is that you really want. And I remember, when the team started building and my phone would ring every morning at 4 a.m. And every morning I wake up and I'd answer the phone. And one day my wife says to me, "Are you going to answer that?" I said, "Yes, I have to." I answer my phone every morning at 4 a.m. because in Nigeria it was 10 a.m. and no true business person would ever be sleeping at 10 a.m. And so they figured I'm awake. Every morning my phone would ring. Every morning I would answer. Then eventually my phone stopped, slowly started to stop ringing. And that is when I realized that all the effort and all the determination and all the work and all of the challenges that I'd gone through to have that team start to develop, it was worth it. And you may be going through your own situation right now, similar to that, at your level or wherever you are in the business. And I will really want you to understand, just keep pressing forward. Just keep pressing forward. Just keep moving. Just keep doing the things that we know are going to work. Continue to make your calls. Continue to do your tours. Continue to do your follow-ups. Continue to continue. And then eventually you'll find your spark. And then you just give them what they need to have so that they can have the success that they're meant to have in the business. And then you step aside, because that's one of my challenges. So I need to understand, what my weaknesses are. And, people may not understand, may not know me, but I'm a little bit of a control freak, right? In that I need to do my own stuff. And so, I think a lot of my team has realized that. And now I've got teams coming up to me saying, "Brian, if you need any help with anything, I'm here." Even my downline come to me and say, "Brian, if you need help, let me know. If you need help with anything, let me know. I'm here. I'm here. I'm here. I'm here." And so that is the true nature of a team. As we said, together, everyone achieves more. And even though we're in business for ourselves and we're not alone, you have a part to play as well. You have a part to play not only in the success of your own business, but guess what? You have a part to play in the success of your sponsor. And I love that. At the end of the day, I would love to go to my sponsor and say, "Hey, I'm going to be your LD3. I'm committing to you that I'm going to be your LD3." Do you know how much your sponsor or your upline would love to hear that? To say that I'm going to be your LD3? Do you think that would make them want to maybe pay a little bit more attention to you? They're watching you out of the corner of your eye. You're bringing in prospects. They're there to do your three-way calls. They're there to help you, close. They're there to help you make money. We all have a part to play, and we're all on one team. Even when I used to wrestle, and I remember I was with Ramin in Ottawa, and I told him I used to wrestle. And when your team is going for a city championship, yeah, you want to win your own division. But at the end of the day, you winning your division helps your team win the championship. You need to play your part. You have an integral part not only in your success, but the success of your upline. And when your upline has success, you need to celebrate it and know it's my turn next. And the success that they're having is going to help you, because now you have someone to bring your prospects to that personally has achieved success in this company, which again helps to build the credibility of what you tell them can actually happen. So now the next thing is being aware of what it is that you need personally. And I remember when I used to manage a big team downtown. I used to be a headhunter, and I managed a team of about 13 headhunters. And I used to, meet with them every single week. So Sherry reminds me of that because we would have these meetings weekly, and we used to call it head checks, where we would sit down with each of our team members. We may call them downlines in our business, but they reported to me, and I would just check in with them and ask them, how do you feel? What do you feel that you're doing well? Where do you need help? So that I could actually now prepare, an opportunity to say, okay, this is what I need to give this person to help them to get to the next level of success in the company. And similarly, those are things that we maybe should look at here in terms of, depending on how things are going in your organization. But we need to do that self-reflection ourselves. And, we used to call it, I think we called it SWOT analysis, where you sort of assess, what am I really, really good at? What am I excelling at that I've really grasped really, really well? And W stands for, what are my weaknesses? What are the things that I need to maybe delve into? Maybe it's a compensation plan. Maybe it's products. I'm not that good at understanding or the value of the product. So those understanding those weaknesses now will open up opportunities for you to do different things that again are going to propel your business. And then the last one was the thing that is really, really important, and that's the threats. The threats are sometimes the things that we always say we don't know what we don't know. And sometimes we don't even realize what those threats are. And we need an outside person to be able to say, Brian, this is what I think you need to work on. You're really good here, here, and here, but this is where I think you need to focus more attention. And then it's up to you now to take that guidance and go and search for the information. Go and delve into the back office and pull out videos on how to do the tour. Listen to the different presenters in terms of how they maybe describe different elements of the tour. Listen to the different presenters, or Sanaz doing the product crossfire, and again, learn about the product so you can get better at the product. And so you spend time really developing and honing your skills. And as I said, you spend time sharpening your axe, making sure your tool is as as well precisioned as possible, so that when you use it, it does what it's meant to do. You use it, it does what it was created to do, which is again, provide you that resource so that you're getting the maximum amount of success, the maximum amount of return for your expenditure of effort and your expenditure of your energy. And so we always say, hey, you know what? Would you prefer to be a lifestyle advisor plus, or you prefer to be a brand partner? At the end of the day, a brand partner makes 20% discount and a lifestyle advisor plus makes 37. If you had a choice, what would you prefer? Do you prefer a 37% discount, or you prefer a 20? Of course, everyone's going to say they prefer 37, right? So great. So now they're helping you to make the decision, to make their own decision, that Lifestyle Advisor Plus is the one that they should go for. So now, would you prefer that when you register a brand partner, do you prefer to make 350 in Lifestyle Advisor Plus? Do you prefer to make 350 for the wholesale profit, or do you prefer to make 150? And of course, they're going to say 350. So now, which membership do you think makes the most sense? And then you shut up. And as they say, the silence is deafening. You shut up. And eventually they're going to say, they're going to say Lifestyle Advisor Plus. Now, that doesn't mean they're going to launch as a Lifestyle Advisor Plus. It's not always that easy. But at the end of the day, at least you've got them, again, in that frame of mind where they're thinking and they're answering and they're involved and they're engaged. Maybe Lifestyle Advisor Plus isn't there for them because economically it's not feasible today. So again, you want to get them to understand that it's not the package that makes the difference. And I always like to say, our CEO doesn't need your money. He needs your talent. And you have talent that I believe that you can add value to our company. So choose the membership that makes the most sense for you today, and then we can work together to help you to get to the membership that you really, really desire, which would be Lifestyle Advisor and of course Lifestyle Advisor Plus. And so, but again, as you learn all of these tools and have all of these, again, these things in your tool chest, you know when to pull out a hammer. You don't pull out a hammer when you need a screwdriver. You don't pull out a screwdriver when you need a wrench. The screwdriver is not going to do anything for you. So you have all the tools in your tool chest, and you pull out the tool that you need for the job that you're looking to perform at that particular day. So now, but everyone needs to understand what it is that they're trying to achieve. And you need to understand what it is that you see as your true benefit to being in this company. Whether you want to be a millionaire, whether you want to, again, maybe you're not thinking about being a millionaire, maybe you're thinking about team size. You want to build a team of 20,000 like Ramin, he wants to create 1,000 millionaires. Maybe you want to help 20 or 30 mothers, come home and be able to be stay-at-home moms. You need to have that thing in your mind, the thing that really makes you so driven and so passionate that every day you jump up and you're just chomping at the bit to make your next phone call. You're just chomping at the bit to talk to your next prospect. And when that becomes, when you have that passion, that drive, and that determination to do that, that's when the business, it doesn't feel like a chore anymore. It actually feels like it's fun. It's vibrant. It's creating sort of that, it's building that air of anticipation, and it's building that passion and that happiness. And Ramin always talks about, he says, life isn't about it's not about achieving happiness. It's about happily achieving. So you're happy, you're doing your thing, and you're making your wholesale profit. You're selling some FOL, you're selling some fashion, you're selling some skincare, you're selling some personal care. So you're making your retail commissions along the way, and then you work with a partner, you help them to qualify as an LD1. How do you feel knowing that you were an instrumental part of helping that person to make a binary commission? And again, we used to talk about something when we first got started, and we used to talk about it all the time: learn while you earn. And I remember that, and some of the old timers on the call may remember it, because that was something we used to talk about. Everyone said, I don't know how to do the business. Well, you know what? We're going to give you basically a place where you can learn while you earn. Meaning that at the beginning, I'm here to be your mouthpiece. They get to sit in, they get to watch you, maybe doing a few tours for them, so that they can learn how to do it. But then eventually, as Sanaz did to Sherry, and Sherry talks about it all the time, she pushed her out of the nest and then got Sherry to start doing her own tours. And so we have to know when it's time to, again, give our youngling, our little ducklings, a little bit of a push to get them to now step up and to get to that next level where now they take ownership and take, again, control of their own destiny, and they're not dependent on the upline all the time to do it. Because obviously, if you're going to build the team size you need to build, you need your soldiers, you need all of your generals out there looking after the new members who are coming in, so that we can provide the support throughout the full downline, where now people who are 400 generations in depth don't feel like they're all alone, because they feel that they don't feel comfortable coming to the almighty upline. And if they feel that way, they're never going to reach out to you. So you never know who your true leaders could be because they don't feel comfortable coming to you. And I was lucky. I always felt comfortable coming to Renee. I always felt comfortable coming to Sherry. It's not that I needed them, but it was good to know they were there when I do need them. And when I need them, believe me, I'm gonna let them know. You know, Renee, I need you to explain this to me. I don't understand it. Sherry, I need your help here. Can you help me? Sherry, I need you to talk to this prospect for me. Sherry, you know, so and so, I need this. Now I even have my downlines who are saying, Brian, if you need me to do something, I'm available. You know what? I've got a webinar scheduled, but I've got something that came up at the last minute. Do you mind jumping on and taking care of it for me? And knowing that you've given them the knowledge and the tools and the ability to be able to be self-sufficient and to be able to be as good as you are now gives you again the confidence that you're putting the people in good hands and good hands of people that you can trust and they know you can depend on. So at the end of the day, you know that's one of the key things that we provide as a resource and that we have in our system. But again, we have to take the responsibility to actually get the ball rolling. And again, whether it's for your personal growth, whether it's for, in the initial training and mentorship that you need to provide to your partners to make sure they have the tools, the resources, and they know what they need to know. And then at the end of the time, you just let them know, I'm here for you. You need anything, I'm here. You need anything, I'm here. Maybe periodically you reach out to them and you check in. How you doing? I haven't heard from you in a little while. How are things going? Did you have a chance to go through? Have you gone through this, and this? Again, maybe finding out how engaged they are. Oh, so what did you think about the last webinar? What was your favorite takeaway? Oh, Brian, I missed the webinar. You missed the webinar. Oh my gosh, that was a good one. You should have been on. You really are missing out on some really good information that I think would be really helpful for you. And, again, just reiterate the importance of them being on the webinars. Reiterate the importance of them, again, being in the back office, learning, educating, mentoring themselves. As I said before, sharpening their axe, right? Reminding them how important it is. That's self-development because, like I said, they may not know their true potential yet because they don't believe they have the skills. They don't believe they have the knowledge or the expertise to be very, very good at this business. But once they have that expertise, once they have that knowledge, look out. There's your next LD1. There's your next LD2. There's your next LD3. There's your next LD4. There's your next country that you're looking to launch. They're going to be the leader to launch that country. So, but they haven't actually hatched out of that cocoon yet. They're still the caterpillar. They haven't become the beautiful butterfly that they have the potential to become. And everyone has that potential. Whether or not they're going to actually realize it predominantly is up to them, but some of that rests with us in terms of the guidance, the development, the coaching, the mentorship that we are willing to provide and that we do provide at the end of the day. Again, with that balance, right? And some people just need that pat on the shoulder saying, hey, great job, keep it up. You're doing a good job. That was a great testimonial. Why don't you get up and do this? Why don't you get up and do that? Again, just giving them those gentle nudges that they need to have in order for them to maybe step out of their comfort zone to really experience what it is to be experienced. And, Daria talks about it all the time, getting comfortable with being uncomfortable. We have to get comfortable with putting ourselves in a position where we're uncomfortable. Maybe we're feeling a little bit of anxiety. We're feeling a little bit of nervousness. You have the butterflies in your stomach, and then eventually the butterflies aren't there anymore. You again are, wearing your heart on your sleeve and showing who you truly are and letting people see what's under the shell that you never let people see. Once they see that and they realize you're a real person and that you really care and you're really truthfully genuine, they will follow you to the end of the earth, like a lot of us will with Ramin. Ramin has shown that to so many of us. He's done things that we know that most other CEOs would never do. And because of that, we're committed to him. We believe in him. We trust him. We follow him. I mean, he has a proven track record. So again, that's the other thing that we need to do is we need to show the pathway by our own success and by our own, things that we've actually gotten to. So now, how do people know how to become an LD3 if I'm still an LD2? So I need to become an LD3, and maybe you need to become an LD1. Maybe you're a lifestyle, you're a brand partner, you need to become an LA. So wherever you are in the business, again, we all have our pathway that we need to actually strive for and be moving forward with. And we need to set our targets. And this is something that I know that I need to get better at, is setting my targets. So does everyone on the call here know what their target is for the end of March? We have a progressive business, right? Meaning that you need to go through certain stages to hit. You're not going to go from point A to point Z. You're going to be doing that step by step. So we already know what those stages are, but what we don't know is, are we committed to getting there today? And if you're not, there's nothing wrong with that necessarily. There's nothing wrong with that. But again, we always say it's easier to run than it is to walk. But when you're ready to run, we're here to run with you. When you're ready to make it happen, we have the tools, the resources, and the support for you. If you're not ready, don't worry. You know, we'll still plug in, we'll still connect, we'll still work together, we'll still be here to assist you. Again, thank you very much, Karen Henry. Again, guidance from our CEO, finding a way to get us to focus on the things we need to focus on. March Madness. So again, just showing, how the gentleman is so willing to give, that he's willing to give us free iPads and free cell phones for us to build our own business. Again, just amazing how much he's willing to give. And the same way he's willing to give, we need to give of ourselves, of our knowledge, of our direction, of our support. And it may just be a phone call because someone is really, really down. And the minute you pick up the phone and call them, you just made them feel like they're on top of the world, because maybe they don't hear from you every single day, and they don't need to hear from you every single day, but maybe the day you call was the day they needed to hear from someone. Something happened negative in the business, or maybe something personal, and it has nothing to do with business, but just your voice is what they needed to hear. And for whatever reason, you felt the urge to call them, and you couldn't have called at a better time. And so the business is such an amazing, amazing business. But again, you don't know who your leaders are, but they're in your team today. Your LD1s are potentially sitting in your downline right now. Who are they? If they're not, they're on your call list. If you have a call list, if you don't have a call list, I would say to you, again, jump in your back office, jump on your prosperity book, go through the prosperity book and go to the list building section and start building your call list. Build your call list, and then tomorrow, start making your calls. Don't prejudge or look at whoever's name is on the list. Just pick up the phone and call them. Maybe you're not calling them to present them about a business initially. Maybe you're just calling them to reconnect. Find out what's going on in their life. Build some like and trust. rebuild the connection. And then when the time seems to be right, where now you feel like you have that commonality and you've built that that you've given yourself the right now to offer them the opportunity, put it out there. Maybe it's you're giving you're presenting the product. Maybe you're presenting the business. But again, we have the system. We have the tools, we have the resources, and just go out, look and find them, spend time learning it, and let's go out and let's make it happen. So that's it for me for tonight. um yeah, thanks, Karen. A robo recruiter, that's it. Forensic, let's go for it.
Thank you, Brian. Phenomenal, phenomenal training. And you're so right. I love when you said, ask for the sale and zip it. Keep it quiet. Don't start justifying for them. Ask for the sale, ask for the sign up, keep your mouth quiet. I love sharpen the axe. Everyone on the call, let's get our axes sharpened. Brian, there are a couple questions. So from SM, some people say in caps and quotations, no calls. They just want to stick to chatting. What do you do with them, or texting?
Again, everyone has their comfort level, and that's really their opportunity to again grow. Everyone has their reservations, and I don't know what that would be, as to why they feel discomfort in actually making phone calls. But you're going to have a much better success when you actually talk to people not necessarily face to face is the best, but definitely next to that is actually verbally on the phone. And you get, again, it's better for you to be able to read body posture, to read tonality in their voice, to know when something you're saying is hitting home, versus on a text where you're totally flying blind as to whether or not what you're saying is actually being accepted. But I mean, if you're not there yet, then do whatever you need to do to get there. And again, it's baby steps, right? So if people are not good at approaches, I remember I used to tell people, this is what I want you to do. Every time you're out and you make eye contact with someone, I just want you to nod. Just nod, and guess what? They're going to nod back. Eventually, once you get nodding and nodding becomes easy, and you're that's it. You're just nodding and you're nodding at everyone. The next thing I say, hi, how you doing? Hi, how you doing? And then you'll be wondering, someone was going to talk back to you. You say, oh my God, they spoke to me. And then eventually you're building again that comfort level with progressing and becoming a different person. I mean, Ramin's always talking about evolution, evolving, right? So you need to find your way, how you're going to evolve to become better and the best person you can be. And typically, texting is not really going to do it in most cases, but hey, do whatever you need to until you get to the point where you feel comfortable, doing, again, evolving into something bigger and better.
Thank you, Brian. Two more questions from Bella Bellis. Brian, she says, firstly, thank you for your training and continuous support. Question one, what do you consider to be the appropriate amount of time for training a new partner? And second part of that question is, how did you start your training with a new partner?
I mean, typically, what I would say, the time you want to make sure you get them through at least the first stages of let's say building. For me anyways, building their list, because people don't know, and you don't want them to learn about building a list at convention. Like we have convention like once a year, right? So if someone joins today, I would think that you want to be talking about building their list probably within the first 2 to 3 days maximum, hopefully, if their time will permit. Reason being is we have some amazing fast start incentives that people can double and triple their binary commissions in their first week. If you don't get them started until week number 2, they just lost an earning opportunity to earn. So at least you need to let them know what's in it for them. Listen, Daria, I really want to get together with you to show you what you need to do to have success. I know you like what you saw in the business, but I want to at least tell you what you need to do to so that you can start earning some money. When would be a good time for us to sit down and do that? Hopefully
Excellent.
they see the reasoning why it's important and they book the time immediately. Yeah, you've got to be respectful of people's time. I'm not saying be a bully and throw them in a headlock and sit them down in front of a computer, but you have to be able to express to them the reasons why it's so important. And the reasons is I want you to earn as much as possible, and there's some really good money on the table right now that I at least want you to be aware of so that you have a chance to take advantage of it. Whether you take advantage of it or not is up to you. But if I would feel bad if I didn't let you know, and then afterwards you missed out and you felt that it was because I didn't tell you.
Good point. Very, very good point. Just a couple more questions, and I want to be mindful of everybody's time. Again, from Bella, Brian, when you invite a prospect that brings a group of their friends to the presentation, 3 from the group sign up. Would you sign each one under you, or would you sign the person you invited and sign the remaining 2 under the guest? Do you sign them
Um,
under you or under the
So
person that
again,
brought them?
everyone has their own thing. But for me, honestly, I mean, and that's happened to me. I mean, at the end of the day, there are people who are, for whatever reason, they don't necessarily launch right away, but they're bringing prospects, which is great. I mean, you're plugging into their list already, and you've got them in the frame of mind where they're building and they're building you people. But if they brought me someone wants to launch, I would go back to the person who brought them and say, listen, Jim, it looks to actually wants to launch his business. We don't want to stand in his way of him launching. So, do you want to launch him, or do you want me to launch him? And then what ends up happening typically is the fear of loss. They're going to find a way to actually get in at least brand partner or something so that they now can benefit from, that person being part of their team. I mean, again, you've got to show integrity. And, if people don't believe they can trust you, then you've ruined sometimes that relationship for life. And for me, that's the most important thing is people feeling that they can trust me and they know that I've got their back and that I'm going to do what's in their best interest, not what's in my best interest.
Excellent. Thank you. One more question, actually, a few more. Again, from SM. There are some people who want to get to LA Plus or LA, but at the end of the tour, they say, oh, it's expensive. I don't have that much money. Also, the same with BP. What to do in these cases?
I mean, that's a tough one, but if people don't have the money, they really don't have the money. I mean, I would, let them know that, they can go away and they can save up for it. Maybe there's ways that you can do it through maybe them bringing you some retail customers or whatever. And then you can use those retail customers as a way to maybe hold the retail profit and pool it for them, right? I mean, there's lots of ways to be creative to really really help them. And but at the end of the day, if they really want it, they'll find a way. In a lot of cases, that really is an excuse because they know that you can't. They know that's one you can't overcome, right? And so, but if someone is really really wants it bad enough, they'll find a way. They'll find a way to make it happen. If they maybe not right away, but a week or two, they'll go to work and they'll find a solution to make sure that they can launch.
Thank you, Brian. And also, if you explain that you're not paying for a lease, you're not paying $19,000 for product, when you really break it down and do a comparison of what other entrepreneurs are doing to have to manufacture their products, to have to pay for a lease, to do all of that other expense, really to invest into Opulence Global is not a lot of money under $2,000 to get a business going.
And then
Well,
they always say break it down to the ridiculous, right? So
yes.
now if you're looking at 700 and now you say, hey, you're looking at whatever, divide 700 by 30 and it's this amount per day. Is it, you got to give up, 1 or 2 coffees a day to be able to do that. Is it worth it? Is your actual financial independence worth that commitment? And when you actually do that and they really think about it, a lot of people are spending $600 or $700 on really frivolous things over the course of a month. And so for them to sacrifice on those things to now be able to have an amazing business, then we may be able to help them to overcome that, mental objection.
Right, correct. And when you do break it down that way, really, I mean, the initial investment at 1900, it's what, $165 a month, really, and then
Yeah.
plus what you pay in. A comment from Carolyn Chung. Hi, Brian and Daria. This is not a question, a comment. Brian is my sponsor, and I want to acknowledge his excellent leadership over the course of working with him over the past 13 years. He leads by example and inspires me to do better just by watching him work. Thank you, Brian. Great, Carolyn. That is a wonderful, wonderful, wonderful comment. Earl Williams has got a question, and it is, what if you have an upline but not a team?
You have an upline, but you don't have a team. I mean, I mean, I'm not sure. I mean, you need to start working on building a team. And typically, your team is really going to start from your efforts. And so, when I looked at the business, I realized I needed to actually have one person on my left and one person on my right. That's what I really went for. And I wanted to do it as quickly as possible. So at the end of the day, we all know two people who probably want to earn more money. If we're in Canada, we know at least two people who want to save money on their taxes. At least two people who are very, very passionate about health and wellness. Two people who look amazing, and they would love skincare. So at the end of the day, you already can identify people who probably would be, people that you can approach for just about everything that we offer in the company. Now it's just a matter of, again, making your list and starting to make the calls. Daria, I saw something that's absolutely, I really, really love. I would love to get your 2 cents on it. When can we sit down to talk?
Excellent. Thank you.
Simple, right?
Brian, thank you so much. I love what you said at the beginning. Believe in yourself, believe in the product, and the rest falls into place. So thank you for that. Thank you for doing the forensic call for us. It was very knowledge. We learned. I learned a lot. So if I learned a lot, I'm sure all of our partners have learned. Thanks, Brian. You're fantastic. Really, really great training. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you. One team, one dream.
To the
That's all
billion.
right. That's all right. Let's
Okay,
go.
thanks.
All right. Thanks,
Okay.
guys. Bye.
Good night.